實拍實說，大地海外升學。
跟住我哋就會同 Department of Music 嘅兩位professor 啦，去傾傾我哋喺 Department of Music 入邊嘅各樣嘢嘅。咁啊，包括咗阿 Dan 啦，同埋 Shirin 嘅，係啦。咁啊，歡迎兩位先 ，Hello。Hello. Yeah. So first of all, can you tell me a brief picture of the department and why should a student study with the department?
Yeah, sure. Well, at Royal Holloway, we've got this amazing variety of courses. So just about any type of music you can imagine will be taught and be an expertise here. And yet, with that variety, there's the ability to really specialise. So we've got experts recognised around the world for these different subjects. Our lecturers, professors are recognised as some of the world-leading authorities in the UK. So recognised as one of the best music departments in the UK, and yet we have that variety of courses.
Yeah, in terms of variety, I think what I usually tell people is that we are one of the very few colleges and departments in the UK that give you a little bit of, let's say, musicology, the traditional Bach, Beethoven, Brahms, Berg, if you want it. We also do ethnomusicology and global music studies, which is more the current term, with staff specializing in anything from Andean music to music of the Finno-Ugric world to East Asia, which is my own specialization. But we locate all these discourses within, traditional musicology and evolving musicology and Western art music studies. And then we also have pop music oriented courses in terms of pop music, commercial music production, composition. We've got a new course in video game music and sound design. But if you want to do classical composition, there's also room for that. And if you want to do performance, we've got, a big star. You just have a look at our staff pages. People from Dr. Mary Dahlia to Dr. Dan Elphick to Professor Tina Ramnarine to Professor Stephen Rose and Dr. Zubin Kanga. These are all leading names, and there's so many more names I could mention. So, if you wanted to go for a very traditional approach, you could go to particular colleges in London, or if you want a very global music approach, there's another one in central London, or if you want to do a very pop music focused approach, there are other, specialized spaces in the UK, but at Royal Holloway, you can actually do all of it without actually living in the madness and chaos of London, which is very exciting for me. But we're only 40 minutes away, so if you want it, you can just take a train and then you can just go home and sleep in all the greenery and enjoy your beautiful surrounds, in our 19th century building, which is a building full of so much history. It's got a history of the suffragette movement. It's not just an old white people's building, but it's a building that is about social change, is about, and music and social change. I mean, you teach courses on that.
Absolutely, yeah. So we have whole programs that specialize in music and social change, some of the burning questions that affect music. So yes, we've got the traditional. We're really proud of the traditional music that we teach, but at the same time, we're saying, what questions can we ask in the 21st century? What is the role? What is the significance of Beethoven in the 21st century? Why would we still keep playing? Why would we still keep listening? Because these are things we have to question, and we really do. We encourage our students to do that. On the performance side of things, one of the big strengths we have in the music department is that, you might be thinking of performance, conservatoire or university. At Royal Holloway, because we're close to London, many of our teachers also teach at the conservatoires. So we've got that standard of performance, and yet the university environment with academic courses with people like Shri teaching you at the same time as that high level.
Yeah, I mean, our composers, Dr. Tanya Ko, Dr. Samantha Fernando, and Dr. Nina Whiteman and Dr. Tom Parkinson, they're all very, very active practitioners with big gigs at the South Bank, at the Barbican Centre, at King's Place, and, doing commissions overseas with, Royal Opera House, for example. So you have, a connection to these spaces kind of through them as well, and understandings of practice. So, it's a very valuable space. And with regards to the global international outlook and looking at why music is still relevant today, I mean, for example, we've had Hong Kong students do fieldwork projects on protest music in Hong Kong, for example, and then other students, thinking back to the East Asian students who look at choral music in Hong Kong and why the repertoire is like this, or class in Hong Kong, what is being taught in secondary schools as opposed to universities, and why do some secondary schools have more money to spend on music as opposed to other areas, and these sorts of very, very important questions that we're constantly talking about as
as scholars and practitioners, but we want our students to talk about them as well. We want our students to really think about them as well.
Yeah, why it's part of our everyday life, why we have to care. It's not just going to a library or, playing my little violin in a studio. It's not just about that. It's about why it matters today.
Yeah, right. So it's very nice campus, star teams of scholars, and plenty of opportunities. So
we care.
Yeah, sure. I can see that the building is wonderful here. So may I know what kind of programs exactly you are teaching here, and also what general skills that you're going to train up the students with during the study years?
Yeah, so in general pathways, we put our modules into particular boxes. So there might be musicology, broadly the kind of academic study of music, ethnomusicology, music from outside the European derived classical tradition, performance, pretty straightforward, composition, again, pretty straightforward, either notes on paper or music in the studio, composing with some sort of technology, or then other pathways of popular music, film music, musical theatre, etc. So maybe I'll give some examples of some of the modules from each of those. I'll start with the last one of popular music. So we've recently launched a new module on musical theatre, where in collaboration with our drama department, our students work with people who've worked on the West End in London, so they work with this musical theatre productions, and you workshop and write your own musical theatre piece over a certain number of weeks, and then you're assessed when you perform it. For instance, so it's a practical, theoretical one for anybody interested, for instance, and that as a career destination, which is becoming really popular. In sort of composition, we've got new collaborations launched with our media arts department, so the people who are directing film and television, interactive media, so VR perhaps, or video game, and you are then providing the music working with those directors. So in the same way of building a portfolio, so the students who take those, especially on the international stage, are thinking about responding to international commissions. They've got a portfolio of that music ready to take to them. In terms of performance, I'm going to keep going through modules. In terms of performance, we've got music pedagogy, which is how we teach music. Large numbers of our graduates want to go into a career in music teaching in some way, and this module is great. It gives you the theory of how to teach music in a classroom environment. You teach your instrument to somebody who's never played it, so maybe, I don't know, violin or piano or something. And over 10 weeks, you write a reflective diary based on the theory of what it's like to teach that instrument. So it's great for people interested in that as a career. In ethnomusicology, I'll give the example of Andean music, which is our colleague, Dr. Henry Stobart. We saw some of the instruments in our Global Music Room studios of this collection amassed from his research over decades of work. And we work with a local Andean community. So a group of Andean peoples who are then professional musicians in themselves in their own right, and our students play with them in concerts at places like Stonehenge for the summer solstice. And on musicology, this reflects some of the staff research. So one our flaggart would be Dr. Tim Summers, who's a ludomusicologist, a word you might not have heard of. That is the music of video games. And Tim is a pioneer in this field and has cutting-edge research that imparts that module, so our students can take those. So all of them, these kind of courses, are geared around maybe careers, destinations, but tied closely as well to our staff research at the same time.
Yeah. So do they need to be a proficiency music player before they enter the department or apply for the programs here?
So it's absolutely not essential. Yeah. So some of our courses obviously are about performance, and we're ready to take you on if you want to specialise in performance. But we've got pathways to come onto our BMUS, our main music degree, without any performance. And our music and sound design program, that's primarily about composing for different media, that doesn't have any performance required. You can take some on if you want, play in our bands, ensembles, orchestras, but you really don't have to. So we've got pathways for everybody. If performance is really your passion, we want to hear from you, but also we've got those routes for people that don't want to, they want to leave that alone.
Yeah, I think it's important to recognize that music making today and music learning today isn't just about performance, or it can be, but it's about many other things. You could be a composer, and a composer of many different styles. You could be working on screen music. Professor Julie Brown alongside Dr. Tim Summers does a lot of that. You could also be doing analysis, which Professor Stephen Downs works on. So, I think it's exactly what you say, that we're looking at many, many diverse strands. It's a very rich and interacting culture that we are culture of education and learning and curiosity that we're trying to provide here. And students get to to pick and choose, and we support each and individual student according to their tailor-made needs. That is really, really important. There's a lot of one-to-one support, there's a lot of small group teaching, there's a lot of constant, very individualized feedback. And with regards to international student experiences, I have noticed that, you know, the demographics have changed quite a bit in my 10 years at Royal Holloway. We are more diverse than we have ever been. We have many international students from Hong Kong, from Cyprus, from Brazil, from Europe, obviously from North America, from China, from Singapore and Malaysia, and from South Asia. People of different ethnicities also born here, and they actually make the classroom a really interesting one because everyone comes to take a music degree for different motivations. Some people just, you know, think, well, I have to go to university, so I might as well do it. Some people think, I'm going to be a star violinist. Some people think, my friends are doing it, so I'll just join them. Some people think, I mean, I was brought up, as a woman in a household where my parents are like, well, you know, if she doesn't make it in life, she can still like be a piano teacher. And I think there's still a lot of parents out there who have this mindset, but we don't want people to. I think it's really great. You know, we produce a lot of great piano teachers who are very committed, and not just that, music educators in schools as part of, you know, careers. But I think the experience is that people come with certain expectations of Western art music in a music program, and they come to Royal Holloway and they realize that it's more than the Western art music they thought they were encountering. It's about global music and Western music and global music studies, global music, and, you know, music and sound. You know, we've got a course on music and well-being. Yeah, music and health, you know, where sometimes I join in and do a little bit of Qigong as well, you know, and if you want to find out how Qigong relates to sound and musical environments, come and take our course.
I would flag up our music and sustainability courses as well, how music can help with helping with the environmental causes as well. We've had visiting people, some of our alumni professional musicians like Katie Tunstall came and gave a talk about how a music tour can be ecologically sound, for instance. So our students are working on that. For example, the woods that guitars are made from, are those trees endangered? Yeah, so we're thinking about all these questions that might not come to students' minds immediately, but actually they're vital when you start asking the questions. So we want to talk to students who are interested in asking these new questions, some of which we haven't thought of before. Our students come to us with these questions, and we want to think about them together, I think.
Yeah, you know, and you know, climate change and climate awareness, all these new political issues, which, you know, are becoming global issues. For example, you know, how do you store music instruments? You need an aircon environment to protect them, and I know that there are special studios in Hong Kong, for example, but, you know, there's a huge cost to refrigerants. Have you thought about that, you know, and what is the role? Or even you're talking about endangered wood. What about endangered snakes that I used to make sanxian, you know, for example? So we look at these issues in class, and what is the cost of looking at safeguarding the climate as opposed to safeguarding culture and tradition? And they're very tough questions which impact everyday life, everyday livings of musicians today and the future, who are going to be our students, and we learn from them. I learn a lot about TikTok, social media, and how not to like be cringe.
I teach some of our popular music courses, and really I learn so much from students about bands and artists that I'm just never ever going to hear anywhere else. It's great.
Yeah, so it reached much beyond my imagination, and a lot of interdisciplinary collaboration. So I think that a lot of parents, they still consider music as a career for music teacher or music teacher in the school. So what exactly are the prospects of the students, where the destination shortly?
So I'll reel off a statistic that Royal Holloway Music Department has been recognised as the top music department for graduate destinations. So we're recognised for our efforts with career placements and training, and our graduates are most likely to be in a job after finishing their degree of any other one in the UK. A line I give for people about music degree and the career prospects would be, some people think about sort of an English degree or a history degree. You can get lots and lots of jobs. Many employers recognise those degrees as they impart those critical skills, you can get into those. A music degree, I think a lot of people think, okay, you can be an opera singer, you could be a piano teacher, but not much else. It's quite specialised. And of course, we're ready to help students go into that career. An opera singer, piano teacher, you name it, we're very happy with that. But on the same time, a lot of those jobs that are asking for English degree, history degree, actually, music gives the same skills. Yeah? So our department, we've got great track record of placing people as professional composers, working with different theatres, with the National Theatre, Royal Opera House, people working on the West End, music directors for Lion King or something like that, people working in these ones. But outside of that, we got people working in marketing, accounting, publishing, copyright law, all of these things, international copyright law, international publishing, and how they relate. So people working on the global stage, where they're using some of the skills from our music degree, so that kind of group work, that questioning, those critical skills, but it's not just so specialised that they're going to be an opera singer when they finish. Do you see that we're ready to give people that specialism? But aside from that, it unlocks so many different doors with the kind of skills that we build into our modules.
I also would add that I think we're entering an age where people are holding portfolio careers. So basically, you cannot just do one thing. And I think what's very valuable about degree is that we prepare students to be able to, multitask in different pockets of different industries and do different kinds of work, because this is how the world is going to be. So we're going to be people, nurturing students and people joining the workforce who will have lots of tech skills if they choose to specialize in that, communication skills, language skills, which will make them really very adaptable. And one thing that we also, forget sometimes is that a lot of our students go on to pursue higher degrees, especially our master's program, because they feel that they've had such a good time here. They want to continue learning more, exploring more, and dive, deeper into music studies in general. And music studies not just for the sake of academia, but for the sake of, wanting to learn, wanting to engage with their curiosities and just, really practice self-cultivation. So some of our master students then also go on to do PhDs, and some of them go on to work in academia, yet others who join us have moved on to other directions. So, there's lots of students doing NGO work, for example, working with social enterprises and care agencies. We've had former students who've worked for music and migration refugee programs, working for music and aid programs, music in prisons, and so on and so forth. So it's really very broad prospects.
Yeah, I believe that, and no wonder why your program has been ranked so high in the UK, in the league. Yeah.
On a practical level, many of our modules build in the employability things just as part of how we assess. So actually into the academic, the thing you think of teaching every day, actually I talks about careers into that. So composition modules are about portfolios. For example, Tom Parkinson, my colleague, he's written for McDonald's, for instance, as an employer. He's written for their adverts. He briefs students on, this is your portfolio. When an employer puts out a call, you need to show them, I could write music like this. And we talk through that in the modules of how we assess. I think that's such a good technique, really. It seems so natural to me. And that's how we build that into many of our modules.
At the same time, we also tell them, well, if the Royal Opera House knocks on your door, how are you going to, create your CV package? And we also look at this in terms of, at the master's level, we talk about, how do you do to pitch your dissertation idea, your special study project. That's a lot more focused than undergraduate work, but these are live conversations, and we as academics are constantly learning. We're not just going to sit on our hands and think, I did my PhD, I'll just recycle. We are constantly reading, we're constantly being attuned to new changes and new debates about how the politics around the world is changing a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, and I've learned a lot from the conversation today, and I open up my mind on the music field, because I'm totally out of the field. Yeah, and congratulate for the success for the program, and nice talking to you too.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. 大家好，我哋今日咧就另外揾咗兩位香港嘅同學做訪問嘅，咁就分別係阿 Kevin 啦同埋阿 Y 嘅。大家好，歡迎你哋接受我嘅訪問先。咁介紹下自己啊，不如 Kevin 先好嘛？
好，大家好，我係 Kevin。咁我今年係 third year 嘅音樂學生，咁我係主修鋼琴系嘅。
咁啊 Y 咧
Hello， 咁我係 Y 啦，咁我係讀緊 Royal Holloway 嘅 PhD 喺音樂方面嘅，咁我嘅研究領域係音樂同埋舞蹈嘅合作同埋表演。
好啊。咁有啲乜嘢原因你哋會過嚟 Royal Holloway 嗰度讀書啊？今次啊，阿 Y 先啦。
咁其實我嚟 Royal Holloway 讀書咧係主要有3個原因嘅。咁第一個就當然係我哋嘅 research 排名咧係非常之高啦。咁當然亦都有非常之厲害嘅師資啦，亦都俾好多資源喺音樂方面啦。咁第3個原因就係Royal Holloway 距離倫敦市中心其實係得40分鐘嘅車程。
好近啊！
咁係好近啊！咁作為一個藝術家或者一個music researcher 啦，可以去到倫敦去參加唔同嘅學術會議係非常之重要啦，對我嚟講。同埋可以去參加參與唔同嘅演出啊，同埋可以喺 Royal Albert Hall 啊、Royal Opera House 啊呢啲地方去參加即係去呢啲地方去睇呢啲 concert 咧，亦都係非常之重要啦，對我哋嘅發展。
即係個 London 嘅 resources 就應該 fully support 到你喺度讀書。
冇錯啦。
Kevin 咧點解可以讀書咧？
係，我都係覺得倫敦呢個地方其實幾好嘅。咁我哋始終即係學音樂啦，其實喺呢邊即係我哋學校師資好好嘅。咁你除咗喺學校裏邊所學到嘅嘢之外，其實有時你出去聽下人哋嘅表演，其實都對我哋即係學習其實好有用嘅。係啦，咁呢度即係表演機會都比較多啦，亦都好多唔同嘅場合可以去聽到、去學到音樂。係啦，咁所以會係一個幾好嘅地方嚟。
係啊，倫敦就即係出名好多啲我諗音樂啊、藝術啊、museum啦，我諗即係聽你哋兩個咁講，應該已經 absolutely 即係可以幫到你哋。咁但係翻去校園咧，你覺得有啲咩嘢你係覺得即係呢幾年讀書係最享受到，你覺得最好嘅地方？
喺校園方面。咁我覺得 Royal Holloway 佢係即係喺學習上面咧係有一個好輕鬆愉快，亦都係充滿人情味嘅一個地方嚟嘅。咁我嘅導師咧就佢唔會俾我太多條框框去限制我嘅想像力，相反咧佢哋其實係會去支持或者鼓勵我去做我自己想做嘅研究嘅題材啦。但係同時間亦都會俾我好多適當嘅或者好專業嘅指引咁樣咯。
好啊。咁啊 Kevin 咧？
係，我覺得喺呢邊其實係我哋老師非常之好嘅。咁我哋有好多唔同嘅表演機會啦，咁亦都會有唔同嘅場合可以去俾你去學習點樣去做一個專業嘅表演者啊，或者係有時你可能彈琴方面會有啲咩唔同嘅演繹方法啊。其實喺我哋學校老師都會答到你嘅，係啦。咁我哋唔同嘅表演機會，例如好似啱啱我參加咗一個 piano concerto，係啦，一個鋼琴嘅協奏曲同埋一個 orchestra 一齊玩。咁其實呢個係即係一個好難得嘅機會。咁而老師都好幫到我哋去究竟點樣去維持一個好嘅演出啊。其實呢啲係非常之好。
咁喺呢一度讀書，你覺得整體即係對於你哋兩位咧，你哋自己即係一路成長嘅學習啊，即係除咗係嗰啲好專業嘅知識之外，各樣嘢有啲乜嘢幫到你個 growth 咁樣？
OK，咁我讀嘅課程係一個博士課程啦。咁其實大部分時間咧都係需要自己去做 research，自己去做研究，去揾自己需要嘅題材嘅。咁但係咧Royal Holloway 喺我呢個學習嘅過程中咧，亦都俾咗好多指引同埋 support 我哋嘅。咁譬如話我哋有 doctoral school 啦，咁 doctoral school 有唔同方面各式各類嘅training 啦，俾我哋去學習啦。亦都有好多即係我哋嘅學習模式方面咧，除咗有1對1嘅指導之外咧，亦都有好多小組討論啦，或者更加輕鬆嘅咖啡茶活動都有嘅。咁我個導師咧，亦都係俾好多機會我去教學生啊，同埋帶學生啦。咁就係因為呢一個唔同方面各式各樣嘅學習模式，係令到我有一個好全面嘅個人發展。
好好啊。咁啊 Kevin 你咧過咗嚟有咩唔同㗎？
過咗嚟第一當然就係英文進步咗啦，
係
因為
一定要啦，
每日都要講嘅。
係啦。
咁另外我覺得就係我哋喺香港以前喺香港讀書啦，咁你嘅老師啦或者身邊同學啦，全部都係香港人嚟嘅。係啦，咁你學嘅嘢其實大概可能都差唔多。咁但係你過到嚟英國之後，其實即係我哋學校 Royal Holloway 裏邊，你嘅老師啦，又或者係同學啦，基本上其實係嚟自世界各地嘅。咁佢哋每個人熟悉嘅範疇都唔同，佢哋每個人嘅專長即係 即大家都會有唔同嘅，係啦。咁而大家坐埋一齊去上堂或者一齊去合作表演，其實你就會發覺其實可以將好多唔同範疇、唔同領域嘅嘢擺埋一齊，其實係一種幾好嘅體驗嚟嘅。
即係其實除咗你哋本身讀嗰科之外，其實周圍嘅配套啊，各樣啲嘢，其實係一路令你個見識啊，各樣嘢闊咗啊 ，all rounded 咗咁樣啦。咁作為國際學生咧，其實呢度有冇啲咩 support 係俾到大家㗎？呢度？
有嘅，咁 Royal Holloway 其實係好注重，都好珍惜國際學生啦。咁佢哋會有即係佢哋有國際部門咧，去到幫助呢啲國際學生去適應呢個環境。譬如話，如果你有喺 visa 方面啦，或者係 travel 方面有啲咩需求咧，咁佢哋都會去幫助到你。咁亦都有好多導師咧，係專係幫助 English as additional language 嘅學生，去幫助你去寫 thesis 或者 essays 咁樣咯。
Kevin 咧有冇試過？
呢邊可能即係我哋即係始終留學生去到一個新嘅地方，可能會初時有啲唔適應。咁其實學校都會有啲唔同嘅活動，就係專係俾我哋同學大家去參加。咁大家啱啱嚟到其實唔太習慣，咁我哋會有呢啲咁嘅即係 social 嘅活動，咁大家識下朋友，咁其實就會對我哋即係適應會好好多嘅，亦都簡單容易好多。
好好啊！咁而家就Kevin 讀到Year 3啦，係啦，咁Y 就即係 PhD 啦。你哋嚟緊個 plan 會係點樣啊？
咁我今年都畢業㗎啦，就係啊，咁就主要有兩方面嘅發展啦。第一方面就係高等教育方面啦，就會喺呢一方面從事即係老師啊，或者喺大學入邊任教啦。咁第二方面就係藝術創作啦，因為主要我自己嗰個研究方向都係喺音樂同埋舞蹈嘅創作方面。所以呢兩個係我嘅大方向啦。咁最近就申請咗英國藝術協會嘅funding啦。咁第一輪申請係成功嘅。咁所以短期內咧係會留翻喺英國啦。咁長期咁因為屋企人始終都係喺香港。咁可能翻去亞洲發展嘅機會都相之大嘅。
好啊。咁 Kevin 咧？
係啦，咁我都係今年畢業啦。咁畢業之後都好大機會係翻香港嘅。咁我主要集中會係喺鋼琴教學啦，因為自己以前都試過教琴，咁其實都幾開心嘅。係啦，咁而亦都會試一試就係鋼琴嘅伴奏。係啦，咁今年其實做咗好多嘅伴奏啦，伴奏唱歌或者係其他唔同樂器嘅鋼琴伴奏。咁我覺得其實即係你同唔同嘅人去合作，其實會有好多唔同嘅事或者唔同嘅嘢可以學到嘅。係啦，咁我會主要集中喺鋼琴教學同埋伴奏。
非常好啊！咁喺最後啦，有啲乜嘢 advice 當然會問翻，就係你哋已經喺度讀書一段時間，有啲咩 advice 你會俾翻嚟緊考慮喺英國或者喺 Royal Holloway 讀書嘅同學，當然係佢家長啦。你有冇啲咩 advice 可以俾到佢哋？
我覺得即係如果你收到 Royal Holloway 嘅 offer 或者知道自己要嚟英國讀書咧，因為係你會離開家鄉、離開自己嘅朋友啦，咁難免係會有啲緊張啦。咁所以我覺得其實喺思想上面，其實同自己講其實我係去到一個新嘅領域，我去 explore 一個新嘅地方。咁其實係主要係諗 positive 啲啦。咁就令到自己開心啲，唔好太緊張。係啦。
Kevin 咧？
係啦，咁可以喺過嚟之前，其實可能帶翻一啲香港嘅嘢食過嚟。咁其實係呢邊
冇咁思鄉，
食嘢可能都同香港會好唔同啦。係啦，咁我哋呢邊都會有中餐嘅，超市都會買到中餐嘅。係啦，咁如果有時真係可能係即係掛住屋企，咁其實你有翻啲香港嘢食，其實你個人都會開心啲嘅。係啦，咁亦都可以試下就係識下唔同嘅。喺呢邊唔識翻唔同香港人啦，或者係即係可能其他地方嘅人，咁因為大家都係過嚟學音樂，其實都會有共同嘅興趣嘅，係啦，咁所以基本上如果我哋識咗一啲朋友之後，其實應該都係會習慣，同埋大家對音樂都係會因為大家都識音樂，咁所以都會有好多嘅話題可以講到嘅。
非常好啊！今日多謝同你兩位傾偈啦，令我擴闊咗啦，即係我之前完全唔識 music， 咁但係話原來個 area 可以咁闊嘅，咁亦都希望你將來我諗無論喺香港、英國、Asia 邊度都有 好好嘅發展。咁啊，晏啲你請我，你煮嘢俾我食啊！你已經咁識煮嘢。好多謝上兩位先，多謝晒。
有海外升學問題，即刻 WhatsApp 大地啦！